What's been my worst hobby disaster and my most pleasing hobby triumph? Time for a Q&A. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, time for another Q&A. Got some really good questions to answer in this video from the last one, so thank you everyone who gave me a question. Please don't forget to pop another question in the comments box below for the next episode. I tend to do these about every month, so once a month generally. Yeah, I really appreciate all the questions, and I've got some really good ones this time, like I said. So let's get cracking. Now we'll put a link to every channel that I mention in the description below, so don't forget to head on over and check any of the channels out that you've not heard of before. And yeah, let's have a look at the first question. So this is from Underdog Painting from Bazza, and he says, a question for next time: have you an army that is personal to you, as in it's your own away from YouTube army that you just like to work on as and when? Hope that makes sense. Thanks, Bazza. It's a good question. It does make sense. The answer is no. I don't do anything really away from YouTube. Hobby-wise, everything that I do is basically on the channel, because my channel is basically a vlog of my hobby. That's how it started out, and that's really how it's continued. So yeah, everything that you see on the channel is everything that I'm doing. I've got no secret things as such. Great question though, thank you for that. Right, next we've got a question from Dornsapothecary, and he says, I'm interested to know how much time each week or month you spend on the hobby to be able to create as much content as you do. Keep up the good work. Thanks for the question, great question. So currently I've got 2 days which I have guaranteed 5 hours of hobby, let's say. So on a Wednesday and a Friday, which are my days off, I drop my youngest at school about 9 o'clock and then pick her up at 3. So that's a 6-hour window. Obviously I've got a few other things to do as well, like you know, maybe there's washing up to do, I've got to mow the grass or whatever, you know, household stuff. So I'm almost guaranteed about 5 hours of hobby in that time frame. So that's twice a week that happens. And then I've got another guaranteed, well, if I get up early enough, another guaranteed hour and a half on a Sunday morning, because I work the weekend. So before I go to work on Sunday, I get another hour and a half of hobby in. That's my guaranteed time. And then in the evenings, I may be able to squeeze in a few hours. Tuesday I'm out because I play snooker on a Tuesday. Saturday is like the family night in or out, generally in. And then Friday I game. Thursday my other eldest 2 children come round, so I don't tend to hobby then. So occasionally I might be able to grab a couple of hours on a Sunday night, a Monday night, and what's that? I think that's it, isn't it? Sunday, Monday? Sunday, Monday. Tuesday snooker. Oh yeah, Wednesday. Sometimes Wednesday night. So if I'm lucky, I might get a few hours extra in. Now, other hobby time, lunchtime at work. Sometimes I will take stuff in. Not painting, because I can't paint at work. It's just not a great setup. But if I've got to build something or fire mould lines off and stuff, I can do that in my lunch break. So that helps with my hobby time. And then, you know, you know what it's like. You know, you can grab 20 minutes here and there sometimes during the course of a week. Now, in terms of video making, I do those all on my day off. And I have to be honest with you, the video making really does absorb my hobby time. I really enjoy making the videos, and for me now, YouTube is just a hobby. It's no longer really a vlog for me for my hobby. It is a separate hobby. So I've got my time taken up quite a bit with making videos, like this one here, for example. You know, this is taking up probably about an hour. Then of course I've got to edit the video, etc. as well. So it eats into the hobby time. And then making, say, the Back to Basics videos, that's eating into my hobby time, and I'm really enjoying them. So I haven't been painting quite as much or getting as much done as I probably would have done without obviously the YouTube channel, but they go in hand, because without the YouTube channel maybe I wouldn't be painting at all. So you know, it works both ways. But I'm going to have another video coming up at some point as well about possibility of taking a little break for a couple of weeks. Not a full break, just a reduction in the amount of videos. And the reason for that is not because I need a break from YouTube, it's because I need some extra time to get my Wolven finished for the game against Aceface. So probably starting in April I might just upload just 2 or 3 videos a week rather than 5 to 7 videos a week, just to give me some extra painting time. But yeah, great question, thanks for that. Next we have a question from the 40k Orcs, and he says, okay, here's a Star Trek question for you. Excellent, love a Star Trek question. How do you feel about Section 31? Do you think it is just too far from Roddenberry's original vision? That's a great question. I don't like Section 31 much, to be honest with you. I've read the books. There's been 4 books, I think, 1 for each season series. And I have to be honest, when the Section 31 episodes come on, they're not my favourite. And I've never really thought about why, but maybe you hit the nail on the head there. Maybe they're not really Roddenberry's vision of Star Trek. Probably maybe don't suit it quite well. So maybe that's why I don't like them so much. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Section 31 storyline, to be honest. So next one is from Drunken Deer. And he says, how do you take down Guillman or the blue hero smurf? Are they the same? Is that the same people? As an orc player, okay, other than using a stompa. P.S. Your Star Trek question reminded me of using birds of prey for orc dakkajets with my clan as the Klingon Empire symbol. That would be really cool. Yeah, I'd like to see that. Okay, how do you take Guillman down as an orc player? You don't, do you? Don't think you take Guillman down as any player. So from what I've heard, now I don't really know too much about Guillman, but what I've heard is he doesn't have a, you can't take transports going to transports, is that correct? I think he can get a power, where a psychic power or something, we can like teleport across the board. I think he's pretty slow across the board. From what I remember sort of seeing. So I think it's going to take him about 1 or 2 turns to probably get to you. And then all you do is just feed him some units. I mean, the best he can do, assuming you don't multi-assault, is kill 1 unit at a time. So if it takes, say, 2 turns to get across the board, he might assault you turn 3. So if he's only got turn 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, 7, so he's only going to kill 3 or 4 units a turn. Try and throw in a fearless unit if you can, because that will obviously help you not run away when you lose the assault. So, how's that sound? As I said, I don't really know him too much, to be honest with you. I've not seen him on the table or fought him or know anything too much about him, except he's obviously going to be a bit of a beast. But yeah, my usual answer really for most big things is to ignore him, and then, or ignore it, and then control it on the table by feeding disposable units. Your orcs, you've got lots of disposable units. So yeah, don't try to kill him, basically. If you try to kill him, then you're going to be expending valuable game turns and points, trying to take him down, and then you've got the rest of the army free to do whatever it's going to do. Right, next question is from Scragguard, and he says, would you get the blueprints and scratch build a model that is not made anymore, or would you simply not have the model? So that's an interesting question. Thank you, Scrag. I wouldn't get the blueprints and scratch build it, But what I would do is get some imagery from the internet and scratch build it myself, possibly basing it on a model that's already out, like my Void Dragon, the Necron Catan, which I made from a Nightbringer. Just got some imagery, artwork from Google, and then just converted that model up. Don't know, would I build it from scratch with blueprints? No, I don't think I'd go that far, to be fair. But if there are models, or there are units that I want that there's no models for, I'm quite happy to convert and build a model. And so next is from Now Live Gaming, and he says, what paint range is your favourite to use and why? So my most favourite paint range is the Citadel range, and the reason for that is I have easy access to it. I have a Games Workshop store opposite where I work, so I can nip in, pick up a painted pot, a pot of paint, and I have no easy access to other paints apart from obviously ordering it on the internet. So my preference is Citadel for that reason. It always has been. Slightly annoying they changed the paint range, although there's nothing wrong with the paint range. The new paint range is great, especially all the technical paints and stuff that they've got out. And of course the new paint range does have different hues to the old paint range. Where I'm halfway through painting some of my armies, the paints are different. So I've had to resort to the Vallejo Game range, which basically is the same paint as the old Games Workshop paint range. So I've been using that, but I don't have easy access to it. So yeah, Citadel paint range. Next we have a question from Crew Orange Angelicis, and he says, what's been your worst hobby disaster and your most pleasing hobby triumph? So let's start with the hobby disaster. It's got to be just primer, white primer. I hate the stuff. I've been using the new Games Workshop Corax White, which isn't white, that's a grey primer. I've been using that recently, and so far I've had no issues with it. It's been really good. But I've tried other white primers before, Army Painter, the old Games Workshop one, and I've really had awful results when you get all that chalky stuff. And it's not just once or twice, it's happened quite a lot, and it's really annoying. If I had an airbrush, I'd only use the airbrush for priming my models, because white primer, I hate it. So yeah, probably, I mean, the warp spiders, you know, the whole unit had to, I think I ended up priming them like 3 times, and stripping them and stuff before I actually got a half decent coat. And even then, if you look under a magnifying glass, you can still see some the chalky stuff. Yeah. So, my most pleasing hobby triumph. It's got to be the Forge World avatar that I painted, because for me that was my stepping stone in confidence, my stepping stone in upping my painting level or realising my painting level. Before I painted that model, I just, you know, painting general stuff and such, and I had that Forge World avatar. My plan was always to paint that last. It was like, right, once I've painted everything, I'm going to paint that. I've got 2 units actually that are in that category, and that was that Forge World avatar and my Elder Harlequins. That's like, when I finish painting everything, I'll paint those Harlequins. However, I put a vote out to the community and everyone chose the avatar to be painted, so I had no choice, and I painted the avatar, and I was really happy with the results, and it gave me a huge amount of confidence that, hey, see, I can paint this stuff. So I think that's got to be my most pleasing hobby triumph. The Harlequins are still on the back burner, and that isn't because I don't think I can paint them now. That's because I'm just don't really have a need to paint them at the moment. So, but yeah, I do have 30 Harlequins to paint at some point. It's a great question. Thank you, Mike, for Crew Orange Angelis. Next question is from the Wargamer Viking. He's just referring back to another question that we had. He says, the UCM are awesome, mainly because I play them. The starter set has both the factions that I said I liked. This is talking about Drop Zone Commander. It plays a little like 40k, to be honest. It's a very tactical game. Are you attending any conventions this year? So, first of all, the Drop Zone Commander, thanks for giving me more incentive to want to play that game, because I think it does look really awesome, I have to say, and you make it sound really good. But no, I am not attending any conventions this year. No. I've got nothing that I can easily get to that I'm interested in going. Obviously we've got ChillCon, of course, on the 27th of May. It's a bit too far away from me to be able to get there easily. Yeah. Right, okay, so next we've got the Jank Master. And he says, based on your logic regarding Star Trek and the 40k box sets, which we talked about in the last video, where are we? Oh, yeah. What would your dream set be from Man of War re-release? What factions? So thanks the Jank Master for that question. So Man of War is re-released. What factions would I like to see? I played a lot of Man of War with my buddy because he has the game. I say a lot, probably 30 games. About 30 games, probably not a lot. But I've always played the Dark Elves. It just feels the right army for me to play. Buddy obviously just gave it to me and said, "Yeah, you can play them. They're easy to play because you've got the Black Ark, and you just put all your models in there and you just go forward and then get all your models out." But I really do like it. It's quite Xenos like feel army to me, and I do like Xenos armies. So yeah, I'd like to see the Dark Elves released, a whole new army, because I'm only playing my buddy ships. So if I had my own fleet, that'd be really, really cool. So Dark Elves would be the army that I would go for. So if that was released, I'd be pretty pleased actually to get my own little fleet and paint it up. I think that'd be really cool. Alright, the next question is from Grawdy's Lair, and he says, if you could choose any Star Trek character as a leader of a 40k army, who would it be, and what army or faction would they lead? That's a good question. Who would I choose to lead an army? I'm going to choose Mr. Worf, because I think he's had a bit of a hard time over the years. Not so much in the later in life, but in the early days. Every time he suggested something to Picard, it's always, "No, Mr. Worf. That's no, Mr. Worf." Actually, me and my buddy used to have this running joke, because at work we used to pretend we were Star Trek characters. I used to always be Riker and he used to be Worf. And every time he suggested something, it's no, Mr. Worf. So I think he got a bit of a hard time. So I think he's actually, I think he'd make a good commander, and he would command my Space Wolves. Why not? Especially the Wolven. I mean, they're like Klingons, aren't they? And I've got my Rune Priest, which I painted like a Klingon. So yeah, I'm gonna say Mr. Worf, and he would head up my Space Wolves army. Great question. Right, next question is from Death Corps Commissar, and he said, if you were to collect a guard army, what regiment would you choose and why? Okay, so an Imperial Guard army. I'm not into Imperial Guard at all. It's my least favourite army of 40k. I hardly know anything about them. I didn't even know about the regiments. I'm going to struggle to answer this question. I seem to remember they've got these jungle people, So I'll probably use that. Is that a regiment or not? I don't know, but you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Predator, Jungle People, Jungle Marines. I don't know if that's even something, but yeah, that's what I would say. Alright, next question is from HowCorrects26. He's putting up some great content, so check him out. He's got some awesome projects on the go. And when I say projects, he's got a lot of projects on the go, so check him out. Really nice guy as well. He says, Nick, what do you think of the new Star Trek Discovery series that is coming out next fall? Right, what do I think? I think I'm incredibly excited. I absolutely can't wait. I know it was supposed to, I think, come out in the spring, but it's been delayed, hasn't it? To the fall or autumn, as we call it. Yeah, I can't wait. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome, and I'm very confident that it's going to be good. I just can't see it being anything but good, to be honest with you, and I just can't wait. So really looking forward to that. Right, next question is from Will, and he says, they tried to create other chapters and it didn't work. It is my understanding that the legions in 30k had tens of thousands of troops. My question is, what happened to the rest of the Space Wolf Legion? I haven't got a clue. I couldn't tell you in 40k, let alone 30k. What happened to the rest of the Space Wolf Legion? I honestly can't answer that, I'm sorry, but yeah, fluff questions just go over my head. So sorry, Will, I can't answer that, I'm afraid. Next question is from Wargamer Sean, and he says, when is the next tournament that you are going to, and what is your next project? Okay, so the next tournament I'm going to go to is going to be War Games. I have my fingers crossed. I've been told I'm going, because Scragguard said I'm going to take you up. So in January I'll be going back to the Last Chance Open, assuming that it's going to be on again. I'm sure it will be. Yeah, Last Chance Open, so that will be in January next year. Definitely going to that one. I don't have any plans to go to any other tournaments, although now I'm in good contact with Sam from Emperor's Path. Check his channel out if you haven't already. We may end up doing stuff there. Actually, that reminds me, going back to Spud's question, the Wargamer Viking, about what did he say? Where are you? Where are you? Oh, here we go. Yeah, attending conventions. I am hopefully going to be going to the the YouTube, whatever it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but we're going to try and get to Warhammer World, like a meet-up. It's not really a convention, but we're hoping to meet up, load of YouTubers, so that'd be really cool, and that's going to be in September, and the reason why I remembered is because I think I'll be going up with Sam. So yeah, I've got that little event thing coming up, hopefully in September. Sorry, just a total distraction there. Right, what is your next project? So my next project, I don't actually know. I haven't planned anything. I've obviously doing those 5 woven, and then once they're done, I think I'm going to be doing the other 5, which is that are half painted. So that will be that sort of unit finished, and then I don't know. I've only really got some Eldar stuff to paint and some Space Wolves to paint. I do have that old school metal Necron stuff that I got, so I'll see if I'm in the mood for that. At this moment in time I don't feel in the mood for that, so it's either to be another Space Wolf unit, probably my bikes, so I've got a biker unit that needs painting, or some Eldar of some description. I've got some Howling Banshees to paint. I'm thinking of using those for my Get It Painted challenge in the autumn, maybe. We'll see. So I haven't actually planned what I'm going to paint yet. I'm going to have to see how I feel. Thanks for the question, Wargame Sean. Awesome channel, by the way. Go check him out. Next we've got Nerdopolis Prime, and he says, "Cool Q&A again, my friend. My question this time: when are you watching, when you're watching painting tutorials and battle reports, which do you enjoy the most, Tyranids or Eldar, and why? Okay, so battle reports, I definitely enjoy Tyranids the most. I love playing Tyranids. Tyranids are so much fun, and just watching Tyranids on the table, anything can happen with Tyranids. And it's interesting to see people's different army lists as well. Like Will from Commissar Warwick, he puts up a battle report with his Tyranids against Scragguard's Eldar, and he took like a Nidzilla list. Really fun list to see in action. So I love playing Tyranids anyway. So battle reports, I like to see Tyranids. Painting tutorials, I think Eldar, pretty cool to see, because they've, for me, they've got one of the best painting, what's the word, not functions, but where there's so many different aspect warriors and with the type of armour that they have, I think they're an open world of painting. It's really interesting to see how different people paint them. Don't know if that makes sense there, but Eldar for painting, Tyranid for battle reports. Next question is from Spearmint Otter, and he says, how would you feel about 40k end times, and if it were to happen, how do you think it would happen? Which Primarchs would you bring back next into the 40k universe? And what are your thoughts on guillman being brought back? So, a great question. I think we know what's happening with end times. It's obviously not happening. So I don't think I'm going to delve into that one. But in terms of Primarchs, I think it's good that the Primarchs are coming back. I think it adds a different dimension to the game. There is only one way forward, it seems, for Games Workshop with their game, and obviously with progression it's going to happen, but everything gets bigger and better and stronger, and the Primarchs is a good next step for that. Now, I'm not into the Primarchs, I don't really know all of their names. There is a particular Primarch that I do want to see come out, but as I have not revealed my Chaos Army yet, I'm not going to mention which one. So, yeah, great question. Thanks for that. Next is from Sam from Empress Path, and he says, if you could be any flavour crisp, what would it be? Now, if you'd asked me this 10 years ago, I would have said salt and vinegar. That always was my favourite crisp. But as I've got older, my taste buds seem to have changed, and I like cheese and onion now. So I'd be cheese and onion crisp. Next question is, I've got written down here, Tattoo for You. He's now had a channel name change. He's now the Nerd Life. So check his channel out. Awesome channel, awesome guy. And Richard from the Nerd Life says, I'm going to add to Sam's question. So read his first, which I just did. Right, if you were the said crisp, what would you like to be served with or dipped in? I like crisps in cheese and onion sandwiches. Cheese and onion sandwiches with crisps. Cut them in half, eat them. Lovely jubbly. Yeah, you do get smelly breath afterwards though, but there you go. Just have an extra strong mint. Next question is from, and I think he has more than one question, DZ Saber, and he says, here are a few questions. 1. Do you find that your hobby time varies much between the different seasons? Yes, it does. I get more done in the winter than the summer, because with summer you've got other commitments like mowing the lawn, and obviously with a nice sunny day, you know, children want to go to the park, they don't want to go out on their bike, and you want family days out, blah blah blah. So less time in the summer generally than in the winter. Are there any other tabletop games aside from Games Workshop you play or are interested in trying out? Not really, to be fair. I've talked about Drop Zone Commander. It looks cool, but I don't know that I would want to play it. If I had a friend that lived local that was really into the game, and I could just pick up like a little fleet and play it with him occasionally, I probably would do that. But on the whole, I'm generally just happy with what I'm doing. For me, 40k is where I'm at. So yeah, none Games Workshop stuff, no. I'm happy to have dabble in 30k and who knows, Age of Sigmar at some point. But for me, it's all about 40k. Question 3 is, have you ever totaled up the points for any of your armies? A couple of my gaming buddies have mentioned having 17,000 points on one army for 25,000 points of another. Just wondering. That's a good question. I have done in the past, not recently. I know my Tyranids were up to 7k, but I've got more models now. So I've got probably about another 500 points, maybe 1,000 at the most. So let's say 8k of Nids. Necrons, I think I was up to, can't even remember. I think that was about 8k. And then, but I've got loads more stuff since then. Space Wolves, I used to have a 4,000 point Space Wolf army. That Space Wolf case was 4,000 points, but that's the old codex, so it probably only adds up to about 3,000 at the most now. Space Wolves. Eldar, I haven't got a clue, not added that up. Dark Eldar, I now have 2,200 points. Yeah, so I think the answer is no, I don't actually know now, but I have added them up in the past. It's interesting adding them up. Frost and Fists, and this is actually the last question, and he says, for next time, select a theme song for each of your armies. Simple, right? Mythos, yeah, very simple. He loves to give me really hard questions, Mythos does. Well, I've had theme tunes for all of my armies, which when I used to put music up at the beginning of the video, I had set music for each individual army. But a theme song for each of your armies. No, I'm not going there. I'm just going to have a theme song just for me, and it's going to be The Wonders of Warhammer 40k. Yeah, that's it. Right, thank you everyone for all of those questions. Really enjoyed answering those questions. It's awesome. So, if you want to see another episode, please pop some more questions in that comments box below. Please comment, like and subscribe. Share if you want, and don't forget to hit that bell button so you can keep up to date with the wonders of Warhammer 40k. Thanks for watching.